Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Elias and welcome back to Stoneblock 3. In the last episode and in the last few episodes, we've been doing a lot of work and it's finally paid off. We were able to get blazes. We were spawning blazes with our mob duplicator, which is hooked up to the mob crusher to get essence from the mob crusher, and we were able to get some blaze heads. I have an extra one right here, which we can then use to make blazing blood, which allows us to smelt things at a higher temperature, which is what we needed to do in order to get our hammer. So we have this cool hammer, and it is almost how we want it. So this hammer currently will mine a 5x3. That's not quite a 5x5 area, so we're gonna fix that today, and that is actually the first thing we're gonna do. So I looked into it. There is a couple of ways to add modifiers. I spent a lot of time actually, and I made this encyclopedia of tinkering, which for the record, the recipe for this was just some gold on a book, nothing major, and we need to get so this has everything for the record. Tier 3 stuff, slime skulls, describes the effects of all types of skulls in creating slime skulls. I don't know what these are, but I haven't looked into a lot of the stuff, and basically we need to make a rebalanced modifier. Now the confusing part is there are multiple different types. There's multiple different recipes for this thing. And it is either going to be this recipe, which we can do, Gilded Blackstone or Dragon Scales. We got Gilded Blackstone. Ichor Crystal blocks, which is just Ichor Crystal in a 2x2. Almost said in a 4x4. Or it's this recipe, or it's this recipe. I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's this recipe. We need to make some Queen Slime ingots, which is surprisingly easy, but we do need to have a little bit of that blazing blood. So let's go ahead and grab that. And we're going to switch these guys out. And in order to make the Queen Slime ingot, we need to alloy 4 slime balls, or one magma slime ball, 1 gold ingot, 1 cobalt ingot. So I need to grab a blaze rod, which obviously I have quite a few because I was getting the blaze head. Not the easiest thing in the world to get. I also went ahead and used our Vile Sword to get a few more souls to the blaze soul shard. We're going to use that a lot more in the very near future. I want to get some enchants on that, so we're going to work on that. But let's go ahead and get this stuff smelting, and then we can talk about what we're going to be doing. The other thing I want to do, if we have enough time, is to get these diamonds smelted up. Let's get ingot cast. Let's get this Queen Slime. And hopefully we have enough time to get these diamonds smelted. So we can upgrade our, what is it called? The cobblestone generator. So let's see if we can get the rebalancing, if this is the one we want. So it is 2 Gilded Blackstone, 1 of these, and 2 of these. Now what rebalancing does is our Tinker's Constructs tools have multiple different stats. They have upgrades, they have abilities, and I think there's something else. What this does is it will take, yes, this is what we want. So we want to rebalance it, and basically it gives us another ability slot in exchange for an upgrade slot. This is exactly what we want. So we do that, and then we can put another tier of expanded on this thing, and that will turn this into a hammer that mines a 5x5, and that's what I want. That's all I wanted, is just a hammer that's going to automatically mine a 5x5. Now there are some other abilities that we could use, and I think the one that would be really useful is not something we can actually do. Yeah, unbreakable. So that's luck. We need shulker shells and dragon's breath and netherite for that. Not what we can get to quite yet. So that gives us our hammer, which is amazing, and I'm going to put that away for right now. Let's go ahead and get the cobble gen placed in here. Oh, it didn't smelt it. Okay, well, that's fine. We will try again later. So once we get some more stuff together, we can start working on getting honestly, we can start working on getting Blaze Blood a lot more quickly. So, with that out of the way, I can go dig out a spot to put hopper botany pots, and we can get that going. Before I do that, though, there's some problems. We need to get some infrastructure in here, and the main thing that we need to do. So last time we did make this, the flux controller, which when paired with this thing over here, which is a flux point, and the flux plug we have over there, we have wireless power. RF power is going wherever we need it, if we can make more of those. So we need to start being able to auto process stuff, and that means we need to automate this guy. So what I'm going to end up doing, and I'm probably going to... Oh man, I don't know what exactly I want to do quite yet. We're probably going to make this... we're going to probably leave that how it is. But we're going to move this stuff down. And I have a bunch of cables. I can make a ton of these. These are on AutoCraft. We're going to start running cables for refined storage through the base. And we're going to probably just put it in the ceiling. I need to decide where I want this stuff. The refined storage stuff. I might keep it in this room. We'll clean this stuff up. I can take the power out that's down there, and we'll get, rather than using this stuff for power, we will just power our guy over there, and keep a battery and all that kind of fun stuff. So I'm going to rearrange some stuff, and then I'm going to get ready. I'm going to run some cabling around, and we'll get ready for automating the production of processors, which requires create. So what we want is to be able to make the raw basic processors and then also smelt them. So we're probably going to use one of these guys, and we'll get everything kind of dealt with very quickly. And then, yeah, I'm going to get some stuff set up, kind of get some stuff prepared, and I will bring you guys back in once we're a bit closer to that. So I'll be right back. Alright, so a lot of work done. I am going to be trying to get a lot of this place kind of cleaned up in over the course of the next episode or so. So I moved enchanting over here. We need to expand this a little bit more. It's only up to like level 24, so we need to get up to level 30 at least. But I moved things around back here and set things up with water wheels. So I moved the mechanical crafter over here, and it is much faster. I need to get a barrel for this, which barrels are not bad to make. Let's go see if we can make one. And we're just going to be starting to set up like all of our infrastructure. That is kind of the plan for today, and it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of off-camera work, unfortunately for me, but it is going to be worth it in the long run. So let's get a barrel. I don't really plan on... I don't think we're going to need to automate this thing ever, so I'm not too worried about that, but we have what we need, and that will work nicely. Barrel, so we can get access to the items that it crafts, and it should all go there. So just to show you, I have 3 water wheels, large water wheels going on that just to speed things up. It should craft relatively quickly. We'll see eventually. This whole system needs to move. I need to figure out where I want to put the power. I think what I'm going to do we'll talk about that in a second. But here is our system. So again, I have a dedicated water wheel, and I've got all these gears set up with one in the middle to access the conveyor belt. And I wanted things on the side so that we can put our stuff here. Because what we're going to be using is some mechanism, and if I remember correctly, we're gonna have to do something. We might have to move things around just a little bit. No, we can do it this way. Okay. I forgot there is a little bit of an oddity that we have to deal with, so we'll put that there. So we're gonna put a... what are they called? Whatever this thing is over here. Importer interface. We're gonna put an interface on the side there, and I'll be perfectly honest, we're probably gonna use this for a lot of things. I'll probably run pipes along, and we're gonna use mostly mechanism pipes. And so I realized I can rotate these guys so that they are a little bit nicer. We only have to have one cogwheel, nothing too crazy, no big lines of things, and they do have filters, which is going to be super important because so we're going to have items come out of here and pipe to all of these guys and to this chest. So this chest will get certain items. Specifically, it's going to be the raw, so the iron, the gold, and the diamonds, so that we get the raw processors. And then it looks like processor binding has to be first. It is the same recipe for all of them. So processor binding is first, and then silicon, and then the redstone. So if we just do something like this, they should only be able to accept those items. We'll play around with that in a second. So yeah, that's most of what I did. I'm going to clean up a lot more of this area. Like I said, I'm going to, the machines are going to stay in here. We're going to automate some mechanism stuff, and then we'll have just kind of a general machine room. I might have machines that aren't automated over here. And do I have any stone on me? Been trying to clean up things, make things look a little bit nicer. I don't plan on like decorating like in Stoneblock 2, but we will at least try to make things look okay. No random holes where I had water and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so we have our cable that's going to come down here, and I don't know exactly where I want to put stuff quite yet, because I don't know where I want to have all of this. I don't think I want to keep it in here, but you know what? I think I will actually. So what we'll do is we'll figure out a way. We'll get things kind of moved around, and I need to clean up a lot of this stuff. But I want to bring you guys back in to show off what we're gonna do. So I went ahead and made some steel, which I need to smelt up. I made some basic control circuits because we are going to make a logistical sorter from mechanism. This thing is super powerful and awesome, and I use these a lot. I've used them a lot in the past, but they are very, very useful. So we're going to take that with some basic logistical pipes, and let's get just a few more. This should be enough for what we're doing, and we are going to want to clean up the inventory just a little bit. I can put that away. Let's put the bucket away. Extra stone, the button for some reason, and the steel for now. So we're going to need iron, gold, and a diamond. And basically, what we're going to do is eventually we're going to have processing. And we're going to teach the system that, hey, if we put a processor, a single processor binder, a single silicon, and a redstone plus an iron, a gold, or a diamond will give us one of all the processors. And then we can also teach it We'll set up a furnace. We'll probably end up using mechanism, I think, just because it is the fastest. It is also powered. And that should be everything we need. So we need to climb up here because we're going to be putting this guy here. And this is a logistical sorter. So what this does is, let's make sure this all, okay. It all depended on if these things connected. So what we're going to do is just set up all of our piping. And this is basically all we have to do. These things are so powerful. So what we're going to do is we're going to configure these two different colors. So let's do, let's do green. Actually, you know what? We're going to do cyan and blue. And I'm hoping it works intelligently with the filter that we have. So what we do is we do a new filter, an item stack, processor binding, and we're going to say blue. Save. We're going to do that same thing with redstone dust and silicon. And so inject unfiltered items automatically to connected inventories? No. Default, we're going to have it be green. We don't want round robin. That doesn't matter. So the thing I want to see is if I put a piece of silicone in here, will it go to the right slot? It does. If I put a piece of redstone, does it go to the right slot? It does. And if I put a processor binding, it goes to the right slot. So the last thing we have to do is a new filter, item stack, iron to cyan, same with gold, and same with the diamond. So if I put all of these guys in there and go grab 2 more redstone, they all go where they're supposed to, which is exactly what we want. And it's even going to start processing. We need to go grab a little bit more redstone because I only grabbed 2, or I only grabbed 1. So let's go ahead and make each of these things. And for now, it doesn't matter too much. They're going to stop right there. There is also, let's see, it should work just fine. Let's grab a chest. Do I have a chest or anything that can have a storage? Yes, we do have some chests on us. Cool. So that should be all we have to do. And we have the raw improved processor, the raw basic processor, and the raw advanced processor. These are now automatically craftable. So all we have to do at this point, this is going to be an interface, and then this is going to be a crafter in this block, and they'll connect. It'll be great. Everything will work great. So perfect. There's a bee over there. So all that means is now we just need to get the recipes. So iron, if we do diamond and gold, replace these, we can get all of these. And then we just exit out of this, do 1 of each, and that will be able to teach the processors. And for right now, until I make enough stuff to do all of the like auto crafting, this is good enough. And what I might do for the time being is use this emerald furnace as a way to get the smelting. But that is not going to be our like permanent smelting, because I don't want to have to always use the like I don't want to have to always use fuel. I want to use energy. Now we can upgrade these to use energy, but the mechanisms version, what is it even called? Mechanism has a furnace, an automatic furnace. We were using a redstone furnace before from thermal expansion, which I thought it was still in there. Oh, it's sitting right over there. This thing can be upgraded to be pretty fast. The problem is it's one slot. Mechanism has factories, and what we can do is the advanced smelting factory. So energized smelters. This thing we can upgrade to be, I can't remember if it's 7 or 9 slots simultaneously smelting. So we can do mass smelting very easily. So that's what we're going to probably set up on this wall. Now let's see. I don't remember if I ever taught the system how to make a crafter. I did not. So that's kind of the next thing. We need to be able to auto craft crafters. And once we have that kind of taken care of, which requires construction cores and advanced processors, destruction cores and machine casings. Let's see, we need to teach the system how to make a lot of things. This is the only crafter we currently have, and it doesn't have much. So what I'm going to have to do, and it's going to be a lot easier now, because I can just dump things into a chest and make a bunch of things. In fact, the only thing we might need more of is the binders. We have 43 of these. So this is something we're going to want to make sure we know how to make. So let's look at the processor binder. And it is literally string and slime. That is really easy. And at some point we'll be able to make just a ton of that. So let's actually switch that out for power for right now, because we're not doing stuff with that. And I should be able to make some binder. I gotta remember the button combination. There we go. So let's make 3 stacks of this. We are missing a lot of string. I don't have much string, which is why we need a farm. Okay. Do I have any string in here? I have a little bit. So, binder. Let's just make 2 stacks and like 20. That should be very, very close to what we need. And then silicon is the other thing that we're going to need a lot of. To get silicon, we'll just need to smelt nether quartz or Certus quartz. That is a little bit of a problem, but we are getting nether quartz from washing soul sand. And I think we're getting Certus quartz dust from crushing... No, from washing dust. So we are getting these things. We can just probably smelt the Certus quartz dust, because I don't really have much use of that. And yeah, cool. 3 stacks. How much silicon do we currently have? So what I'm going to do is, for the time being, I'm just going to make a stack of each processor. And I'm going to craft up some crafters. I'm going to make another interface, and we'll get that stuff set up today. And I'm going to start kind of looking at getting... I think we might go ahead... You know, I have the stuff. Let's go ahead and make a... what is it? Energized smelter. What are we missing? We're missing a steel casing, and we're missing a control circuit. That is unfortunate. So we're going to need osmium, and rather than going and doing it the proper way, how many redstone do we need? 2. We'll just go ahead and do it this way. just make one of those real quick, and I'll get this set up as well. So kind of the basis of what we're going to be doing is we make things to make themselves. And so yeah, with the energized smelter, we can smelt up the processors and all that kind of stuff. And we'll put that over here at some point. Right now, we need more of these guys, the flux points, which means we need more obsidian, which means we need to deal with this system. And that's something we're going to do relatively soon. Same with like this system. We got a lot of stuff to set up. So I'm going to get ready to have auto-crafted these of the processors, at least the raw ones. And we will go from there. So I will be back in just a little bit. Alright, so we have a new crafter up and running, and we have another crafter and interface that we can go use. So it just took a little bit of time to get things processing. Also, I went ahead and placed the energized smelter here for now, but I did forget we have another flux point on the back of this guy, so we can actually use this, and I want to actually do something about that today. This thing doesn't work that well, but we need magma blocks so that we can get obsidian, and that is something that we're going to hopefully deal with. So first things first, we have all of these. We're going to break this, and it's not going to like me, but we're going to put an interface here, and we're going to put a crafter, not that direction. I believe we have to do it like that. No. Can we rotate it with this? No. Let's grab a block. So this is going to have a bunch of circuits in here. I literally put a stack of each. And if we put a crafter here, why isn't it? Okay, face. Okay, it is like so. No, I held shift. If we hold shift, we have to be on this side. Man, this is really annoying. But that tells me that we can do this and hold shift. Perfect. So that should connect in a second. Right. We're gonna put these in here. So that wire. Oh, it's not actually connected to anything. Right. How do I want to do this? I don't think I want to go through there. I think for now we are just going to send it over here and go along the roof. I can rearrange things later. That's not a problem. But we should be able to do this. I think I have enough cable. And let's just see. We'll go to here. And we'll just do something like this. And for right now, I don't really care too much. But that should be connected. That is now connected, and our raw processors will be going back into the system. Perfect. So that is automatic, at will, on command processors. The only thing now we really need to do is upgrade things and move things out of here. We'll probably, what we're gonna do is we're probably going to make a. Do we have elevators in this mod pack? I can never remember. Elevator. We do. So we can actually go ahead and make elevators. Should be able to anyways. Can we make 2 white elevators? No? Alright, well I can easily do that. So I will do that between episodes. We have white wool. I actually just had a bunch of sheep spawn. We could always steal the wool from them. So I'll figure something out. We might just use string. I'm going to try my best to start working on the back side of this. So what we're going to end up doing is a lot of these drawers, I'm going to put more on the back of this facing the other direction. And that is where we're going to have, rather than having all of our stuff come in through here, which means I don't think this is useful for anything. Oh no, that is very useful. Never mind. Let's get that going again. So I think what I'll probably end up doing is just something like this. And rather than having stuff come in on a conveyor belt, I'm going to have stuff go into a conveyor belt. Maybe still from this side, but I'll figure that out once I kind of do a little bit of work and see how things are going to be set up. But I'm going to try to put the botany pots and start getting that set up specifically for these guys. So industrial hemp we can make string with, and we are going to want a lot of string, and then we can make, you know, the 16 wool that we're going to need. And honestly, we can probably just go ahead and get some Enderman in here. And no problem. Oh, we have plenty of ender pearls. What am I doing? So let's get the torch back on. If I turn you back on, will you still have power? So murder those endermen for me. Let's open up this rare loot chest crate. Golden chest plate. That is really boring. Alright, so before we go, there is one last thing I want to try to make. And for the record, if you don't know anything about elevators, they work exactly how you might expect them to. And we're going to leave them white because I don't want to have to deal with I don't want to have to deal with like not being able to find stuff. But if you have two elevator blocks that are in a line, you can just teleport to them. Really cool. So that's what we'll use. I will dig out a little bit of a space underneath here, and that's where we'll put power, as well as probably the main controller system for our refined storage system. So there's a lot of things to move and all that kind of stuff, but we need to make something from refined storage to make our lives a little bit better. And that is, let's see, does it exist? Yes, we need a destructor. I want to see if this thing works the way I think it does. And luckily, it should be pretty easy to make if I can find it again. Let's just make sure that's there. So we are going to need a destruction core. That's literally it. Everything else we already have. So that is an advancement. I want to place this down for a second, and theoretically we can set it to only break certain blocks. Let's see if that works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this right here. Okay, so it broke that block. So what if, let's go ahead and put it there for a second. No, we want to put it facing downwards. And before we do anything else, we're going to tell it that it can only break stone. See if that works. If that is a filter, it is not. Is there is a filter. Okay, let's go make the filter. And the whole point of this is for that system. And then what we can always do is we can make a exporter. An exporter will give us the ability to export items, and we can do some logic if we want, but let's go ahead and make this filter. I've never done this before, so I don't know if or how it works. So we're going to find out. So we have a filter, I'm going to guess you right click. Yep, whitelist. Let's say whitelist stone. Alright, so now this has a whitelist of stone. You know what, let's just be smart about this. We have some magma blocks. And we can tell this to whitelist magma blocks rather than, you know, this compressed cobblestone. So theoretically, if I put this in here, if I go grab it and put it in the right position, oh, it's in my inventory. Okay. So, like I said, I've never used this before. Does it go there? No. Alright, so now if we put a magma block there, work just fine. If we put compressed cobble, no. Okay. So, I'm going to have to figure out what this can be used for. But this is a potential way to break items. We just need to figure out how we can get it to work. And I know for a fact that you can do it with applied energistics. I've seen that happen before with the annihilation planes. The problem is, even in this system, it is very, very difficult to kind of make it work. It can be tricky. So I'm gonna guess that it might be tricky to get this thing to work like I want it to. But the idea is that we'll use that to break the blocks rather than this system, because this system is unreliable. So that's the idea. That's the plan. I'm going to continue cleaning up the base. Like I said, I'm going to try to dig out a room for the hopper botany pots, as well as I'm going to dig out a room underneath here. I need to figure out, do we have any good ways of moving? I know there is a piggyback. How do we make this? We need 4 slime balls worth of blood on a saddle. I know how to get blood very easily, but I'm not going to like that. So let's see if there's another way to get blood. Is there an easier way to get blood? Rotten flesh? And basically any entity in the, like, in there will get damaged and blood. So zombie heads. How much rotten flesh do we have? We have 12. Do we have any blood? We have blood shrooms. Coagulated blood we can get from blood shrooms in a... Hold up. We have a phytogenic... Don't we? Yeah, we have a phytogenic isolator. We can put that right there. It needs sunlight, which I think we can just do glowstone above it. Let's see if this works. I actually don't know if it needs sunlight or not. Blood shroom. And let's grab a bucket for water. Question is, where do we have water at this point in the game? I need to be very careful with that. I don't want to lose, like, the last bit of my water. And we do have, I think, do we have it in one of these chests? No, but I believe in here we have something very special that we can use. Not that one. Is it in this one? No, we do have more rotten flesh. Where did I put it? Is it in here? Yes. So we have some phytogrow. So this will basically speed up things. If we put water, it is a fertilizer anyways. So this can make us coagulated blood, blood shroom stems, and what else can it give us? More blood shrooms. Alright, so it's going to use a lot of power. I actually don't think it needs the glowstone. Let's find out. Nope. Okay, so it's going to use a lot of power, but that should make us some blood. And I know I have saddles. Let's see. 4 slime balls worth. So 1 slime ball is 5 rotten flesh. So that's already 4. Let's just go ahead and do that. We'll get as much as we can. And then we just put it on a saddle. And that is enough to give us a piggyback. And then what we can use a piggyback for, let's go ahead and get the rest of the blood. So we make that. I do want to see if this gets us anything good. We're going to probably end up growing those anyways, but so that gets us a piggyback pack. And then we can grab mobs and move them around. So that is something else I'm gonna have to do, and I don't know how to like get them off of me, but we'll just drop them. So that is something we can do to move these guys around, and it's not too difficult or anything like that. Hey, that made 4 coagulated blood. That's enough to make another piggyback pack. Also gave us 3 blood shrooms. That's kind of cool. So, yeah, I've got a lot of things to work on. I just mostly want to clean up the base. That is a top priority, and we'll do that next time. I'm not entirely sure what we'll get into. At this point, we need to just kind of clean up the base and work more towards blazes. So I don't know, we'll figure something out. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I will figure out how to get the destructor to work with this system, and get automation and all that kind of stuff. We'll get things all working, and we'll go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.